We clap for the woman who never miss work, even when her body is falling apart. We hear, I just need to push through. If I could just push through. We praise the man who stayed strong even until death. When people get divorced, we tell them, tough it up. We've got to move on. And when people die, we make it seem like it's a marathon. You got to be strong. It's been a year. It's time for you to move on. Never once letting a tear fall. But let me ask you something. What is the cost of never resting? What is the cost of never crying? What is the cost of never stopping yourself, slowing down to feel the pain? Today on Unpacking Me, we're talking about the silent toll of toughing it out, pushing through, and how trauma, when left untreated, becomes an illness. Chronic pain, autoimmune disease, fatigue, fibroids, high blood pressure. This isn't just about stress, it's about survival mode becoming your default setting. Let's unpack that. I'm your host, Nikki Cameron, trauma recovery therapist.
And I'm your co-host, Murnell St. Jean, trauma recovery therapist.
And we're welcoming you back to Unpacking Me, the parts of trauma no one talks about. So let's talk about this strong Black woman and this man up mindset. And I think it's fitting for me to talk about this concept I like to use called toxic strength.
Mm-hmm.
What is toxic strength? Well, I like to say, I've coined this term as it being when someone disregards their own capacity, their own window of tolerance for the sake of appearing strong. Meaning, I'm falling apart. I feel like at any minute I could just pass out. But just because I don't want to be viewed as weak, just because I don't want to be seen as lazy, or just because I feel like if I slow down, I'm going to miss out. And I want to maintain this persona of being the strong, productive one. I ignore what my body's telling me when I know I need to slow down and just be and rest. So, what are some expectations of being a strong Black woman or being the strong one or manning up? Well, that you don't complain.
You're not allowed to complain. Isn't it a sin?
Right. You get up and go. I've even heard rest when you're dead.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Pain is a part of life.
Yeah.
I've even, the most common one comes from more mature people. It's, well, when I was your age.
Oh, yeah. When you were suffering at my age.
When I was your age,
Uh-huh.
gave birth without epidural.
That sounds real personal,
And
man.
you young women are so weak nowadays.
Uh-huh.
I was taking care of 4 and 5 kids, and you young mothers nowadays don't know what you're doing.
Abuse.
You young people are so weak. You don't have any toughness.
Wow.
So who wants to be seen that way? Who wants to be judged that way? Who wants to be viewed that way? Who wants to be humiliated? Absolutely no one. And so therefore, these messages have caused people to unconsciously live their lives, so many in accordance with these harmful toxic expectations, not to even disregard these messages from childhood that tell us to stop crying before I give you something to cry about, or you don't get to get tired, you need to get up and start working where there's no resting, or being told you're just lazy. Whenever you try to sit and rest, you're just lazy. So this all results in emotional pain that eventually becomes invisible in families because the struggle is not validated. If anything,
It's
people
glorified.
tend to get a badge of honor,
It's glorified.
for pushing through the pain. And it is very harmful. In our culture, resilience is rewarded even if it's killing you.
It is so true. There's a song back in the days. It's by City High. Do you know City High?
I sure don't.
Never mind. And then in the song, the young man meets this woman, and she's telling him, it's really hard. I have a baby, and I think she was a prostitute of some sort.
Oh, I think so.
City High.
I think okay. Now that
And
you're telling
then
the story,
in the song, she goes, it's hard for me
yeah,
to take care of this child, to make money, to do all of this. And his response is, if my mama could do it, baby, you can do it too.
yeah,
Where they
absolutely,
glorify the struggle
yeah.
instead of recognizing this is hard for her.
Don't get me wrong, Murnell. I'm not saying that it's not good to have grit.
Of
It is
course.
good to have a level of grit where you're able to tolerate discomfort.
You need resiliency.
As a matter of fact, discomfort is necessary to advance and grow as a human. When you're pregnant, your everything is stretching and shifting, right? When you are starting a new job, you have to go through a phase where you're learning and everything's new and overwhelming. When you're getting married, even though that's fun, it comes with its own distress. If you're saving to buy a house, that comes with a new distress. So good things typically come or bring their own level of stress, but that's good stress. The problem is the fact that we are not intentional, many of us, about checking in with ourselves. And what I found is as humans, we are more intentional about respecting our cars more than we respect our bodies. You would not dare try to drive your car from Fort Lauderdale or Miami to Orlando
No,
on a quarter tank of gas.
you're out of your mind.
You see what you just said? You're out of your mind.
Yeah, you ain't gonna make
So if you wouldn't dare drive your car from Miami to Orlando on a quarter tank of gas, why is it that we are so disrespectful to ourselves as humans? Why do we continue to dehumanize ourselves and not prioritize slowing down, checking in, resting? Help me to understand.
I think it's a multifaceted answer. There's this aspect of, as we talked about, a cultural aspect of glorifying pain and glorifying the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this aspect of, there's a religious aspect of it as well in some circles, of you got to suffer to get to through whatever version of whatever that looks like for you in a religious perspective. And then there's that like that family aspect. And I think also a lot of it in the Black community, whether it's Caribbean community or African American community, there is that aspect of cultural trauma from slavery still taking place. And that also glorifies the pain and getting through and being resilient. It comes from a lot of different places. And you said it, we dehumanize.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such, I think one of my biggest things that I teach people is, to err is to human. You, as a human being, you cry. That is a characteristic of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
You laugh. That is a characteristic of a human being. You sleep. That is a characteristic. Like the things that make us human are oftentimes disregarded
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes viewed as a weakness. And so I think a lot of it is we try to rewrite humanity.
Yeah. If anyone knows me, they know I love my naps.
Yeah, I love me some naps.
I will take my lunch hour and I will sleep like there's no tomorrow. I will prioritize taking a nap over going out to hang out because I enjoy resting. My sleep, my nap is medicine. It is medicine for my body. My body gets to rejuvenate and update. And I respect my body in the sense that I know that what I put into it, the investment I put into it, I'm going to get back. So I will always prioritize checking in with how I feel, asking myself what I need frequently, and making space to give that to me so that I can attain the goals that I need to attain. So, what happens when we tend to disregard our stress or distress, or whether it's trauma? What happens? Well, let's talk about our stress responses. Our nervous system tends to stay in survival mode. It can look like fight, flight, freeze that's constantly on, like on, nonstop. And our bodies are not meant to be in a constant state of distress. That is not healthy for our body's energy system. It starts to drain us and lead to fatigue if our nervous system stays in a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze. Our adrenal glands are constantly on the go, activated, and eventually leads to burnout. And then there gets to be a lot of inflammation in the body, and our immune system gets dysregulated. So just recently, I remember I went to a conference in New York in April, and when people say to me, "How was the conference?" I tell them, "Man, it was an overdose of oxytocin and dopamine." Those are both good, feel good hormones. But too much of anything can lead to distress to the system.
Yes.
So, what I mean by too much of anything, I was there, I co-presented at the conference, and a lot of people, I interacted with hundreds and hundreds of people. It felt so good. It was an amazing experience, but I was traveling, I was on the plane. Even though it was a great experience, it was still stressful for me. Being on the plane, my flight being delayed, having to get ready for the conference to present, it was a lot. My immune system crashed and I ended up being sick because the stress level led to inflammation in my body. And I think sometimes people don't understand that when your system is stressed, your immune system gets compromised. So I have tend to get stress induced asthma. And if my stress level is going too high, my body starts to give me warning sign. Your body will always warn you. Your body has been warning you. It does send a warning before the destruction. We tend to disregard it. The warning can feel like a leg spasm. It can feel like a headache. It can feel like pain in my chest. It can feel like me struggling to breathe. It can feel like I'm so tired. I feel so drained. I'm struggling to move around. But what do?
Keep pushing through.
We push through. And so I prioritize doing things to lower inflammation in my body at all times. Ginger is my bestest friend ever. I'm either chewing ginger, drinking ginger shots with turmeric. I do things to lower the stress levels, cortisol hormone in my body, or inflammation. Inflammation is not necessarily a bad thing, but again, if your system is always chronically in survival mode, it is going to lead to diseases. And so common diseases, toxic stress, common diseases that we've seen in here that I've helped people to work on through unprocessed trauma is a lot of migraines.
Yes.
People come in with fibroids. People come in with IBS. IBS is something that I know I struggle with. And when I had multiple family members pass away back to back to back, people were dying, my body was overcome with grief. So I had to get acupuncture. I had to do a lot of things to help my system be able to process the grief in a healthy way. Autoimmune conditions, high blood pressure, heart disease. A lot of individuals have heart disease. Individuals who have high stress, especially first responders like nurses or doctors or police officers, who are constantly, or like 911 dispatchers, who are constantly exposed to stress. They tend to have a lot of inflammation in their bodies, and they're constantly exposed to crisis situations. So clinical research shows that trauma and long-term health effects, like if your body is constantly in a state of stress, it is going to tell you. And it is going to tell you with how it responds. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. Your body will always betray you and say what your mouth will not say. Always. So when pushing through becomes breaking down, can you think of an instance, Mernell, when pushing through for you led to a breakdown, or an experience you've had through work you've done with someone where it led to a
Oh
breakdown?
yeah, definitely. I remember just last year I was going through I had like a big medical problem like situation that took place for me. And my way was to keep pushing through, was to tough it out. And eventually I found myself at a place where my body said, no, we're done trying to tough it out. We're done trying to push through. We need to rest. I think I ended up being sick for like a week or two. I had to take
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
to lay down in bed and take care of myself because that used to be my go-to. My go-to was push through.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
go-to was tough it out. My
Yeah.
go-to was keep going, ignore yourself. And I had to learn, my body will always be, my body will tell me. And my body said, "Hey, your blood pressure's about to go up." My head it started to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a place where I think I started to dissociate.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't sustain being present any longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was really tough for me because I didn't realize the necessity of needing to, and I realized I needed to rest. I didn't realize the extent of how much rest I needed because I've been escaping rest for so long.
So thank you for sharing that. This is another part that doesn't get talked about. Do you know, Mernell, that there are many individuals who are not able to tell when they're hungry?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of people I work with.
There are a lot of individuals that are unable to tell when they need to slow down.
Yeah.
And there are also a lot of individuals who are unable to determine when it's time for them to use the restroom.
Yep.
Because we have these two, it's a nervous system issue. We talk about interoceptive skills, where we're able to experience our internal world and have a sense of what
It's
the
happening.
feeling is like on the inside, right? And then what we have what's called exteroception, where we're able to kind of sense ourselves based on where you are in the room, where things are located, how do you feel in an environment. And when someone is constantly exposed to toxic stress, believe it or not, they lose their ability to feel into those just those normal organic things that as human beings we ought to have the ability to experience. I've had individuals come in here and they're stuffy, and I say to them, "You're very congested," and they go, "No, I'm not."
They can't feel it.
And it turns out that because they're so disconnected from their bodies, they're not even recognizing how congested they are. I've even had individuals when I slow them down and I'm like, let's just check in on your body to see how it's doing. And we do mindfulness exercises just to kind of be fully present in the moment without judging and being curious. They start realizing that they've had pain all along, but because they've been so numb, they didn't realize the pain was there. And so it's important that we're being intentional the same way how you would check in on your car before you go on a long drive. The same way it's important for you to check in on you. How do I feel? What do I need? What do I want? It is important that we are being intentional about checking in ourselves. Why is it that we're struggling so much to slow down?
I think a lot of it is slowing down is not familiar. It feels unsafe.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
there's been trauma that has kept us in the fight or flight or freeze
Mm-hmm.
system
Mm-hmm.
that we don't know that
Mm-hmm.
we're moving fast.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't know that we need to slow down.
And sometimes slowing down forces you to sit with your thoughts.
Oh, that's a big one.
And when people sit with their thoughts and they're afraid of their thoughts or their feelings, that can be overwhelming.
Yes.
There's so many individuals who cannot sit with themselves for 1 minute because of the racing thoughts they experience or the feelings that start to come up. And people will tell me, I feel like I'm going crazy. I don't know when we got to a space where it started to be okay for us to think that it's not normal to have thoughts.
You're right.
It's normal to have thoughts. Should they be racing all the time? No, no. If you're having racing thoughts, that's your body's way of saying to you, there is too much going on inside that you've been ignoring. We are overwhelmed internally, and we need you to make space to slow down and address them so that there's not an over accumulation of things that you've been ignoring and pushing to the side so you can push through.
I have like a really bad therapist joke. I would say, why do you think do you know what a racing thought is trying to do? And their goal, no, I'm like, it's trying to catch up with you. It's trying to catch up with you. The thoughts are trying to catch up with you. You're running from them and they're trying to catch up
And
with
you
you.
won't win.
And you won't win because they're going to show up.
Yes, yes. And the one example I used to people, I said, well, when for those who are able to kind of feel into their internal world, their interoceptive skills are on point. I say, if you want to pee, when you eat or drink and you have the urge to pee or poop, do you get mad at your body and say, you know what, no, I'm not gonna pee because you're annoying to your bladder? Do you say, you're annoying, you all, every time we drink, I need to pee, this is so annoying? Some people get annoyed, believe it or not.
Yes.
But the thing is, the more you keep ignoring that urge to pee or poop, ignoring it, it leads to constipation or it leads to bladder problems. And so when you do, yes, when you do try to have those functions, it is painful. So the emotions that you're ignoring or you avoiding slowing down, and all of this distress is building up and building up. When you do slow down, your body floods you because it's like, oh my gosh, finally you are sitting still. But what we do is when we sit still and we start to have racing thoughts or get overwhelmed, we numb out, we start doom scrolling and social media. Or some people tell me they might get drunk or they start to shop or get on the phone and gossip or sleep to escape. We do different things to try to soothe, and then we forget to develop a relationship with the same body that we need to help us to push through.
Yeah. And there's another aspect of it also. People think that a lot of people have difficulty slowing down because when they slow down, they've been moving so fast that they feel unproductive or lazy.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. Like I feel lazy or I feel unproductive or I'm wasting my time.
Right.
And it's like, no, you're just moving so fast, you didn't realize you needed to rest. And when you do stop to rest, this part shows up. And then also, many of us didn't grow up in an environment where rest was an option.
Yeah.
In my culture, you as especially if you're a woman, you don't get to rest. You're lazy. You
remember now stuff. You rest when you're dead.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Or I will oftentimes hear, why do you need to lay down? Because I'm tired. I want to lay down.
Yeah, people have been judged so much when they try to rest that's just not something that is ingrained in us. We think resting means that we're gonna fall apart.
We're gonna fall apart. That's crazy. And then there's another part that is survival. Survival sometimes does not allow you to slow down.
Right.
It needs you to keep going. I have multiple, even in my own personal life, I have a lot of friends who, as I became more aware of the need for rest and everything, I realized they've been running off of survival.
Yeah. At any point, we're all running off of survival. Thriving, in order for us to thrive, we have to be intentional, right? And so we have to then make space to unlearn this harmful belief system around, if I stop, I'll fall apart, or if I rest, it means I'm lazy. It requires us to unlearn this need for urgency, that everything is urgent. I would say start by redefining strength. Read, what does strength mean for you now? What does it mean for you to be strong? And if you find out that it is something that is tied to performance and only performance or achievements, then that's an issue. Maybe consider reframing strength as allowing your body to feel and restore. So strength means I allow my body to feel and restore. And tools that are helpful for this is grounding exercises. Go outside, take off your shoes, stand in grass, barefooted. I tell people, stand and touch, allow your palm to connect to the trunk of a tree.
I love that one.
Right. Box breathing. Or sometimes I encourage people to keep straws in your bag, your pocketbook or your backpack, and do straw breathing. The other thing is talking to your body. We talk so much, we forget to tune into ourselves. And then this myth of if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. Well, if you don't talk to yourself, you're not going to know what your needs are.
Then you all look crazy.
Exactly. Listening to fatigue without guilt.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel tired, allowing yourself the permission to slow down. And guilt will show up if all you were ever taught was to push through.
Mm-hmm.
Guilt is a moral regulator.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't care if your slowing down is in your best interest. Guilt will show up to say, but you're breaking this rule that says if we rest, we're not productive.
Yeah.
You then have to reframe for guilt that slowing down means that you're allowing your body to restore. And seek care without shame. Acupuncture, massages, maybe financially you're not able to afford that. You can literally sit and rub your body, nurture your body the same way you would rub a baby. Body tapping. If you go on YouTube and you type body tapping and do those exercises, it is a de-stressor. Humming. A lot of people, our grandmothers used to hum when they're cleaning or cooking. Humming resets the nervous system. It helps the system to relieve stress. Your symptoms are not a betrayal, they're a message. Your symptoms are not a betrayal, they are a message for you.
And so, what can you do in the form of journaling? Because we love to encourage journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I want to share a couple of prompts with us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the prompts I want to share is, what do we believe, or what do you believe about rest and productivity? Sit with yourself and think about and personalize it and say, what do I believe about rest and productivity? And another prompt that I would like to share is, where is your body and how are you holding pain that haven't been spoken?
Hmm.
Where in my body am I holding pain that haven't been spoken? Those two things are really, those two journal prompts are really good to kind of get you started
Mm-hmm.
on that journey. And then you can also do some somatic check ins. You can sit still for 60 seconds and ask your body, what do you need from me today? It's simple, but yet effective. And just tune in and listen. And when you listen, respond with, I hear you. I'm not ignoring you anymore.
That is a big ask.
Mm-hmm.
And you deserve that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Your body deserves that check in from you.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find is oftentimes people are so impatient,
Mm.
they'll sit and within 5 seconds, they're like, nothing's happening.
That's why I said 60.
Nothing's happening. Well, this is new.
You haven't been there.
This is new. It's a new experience and it might feel weird, but it doesn't make it dangerous. It doesn't make it wrong. So I would encourage you to, follow the suggestions, the somatic check in and the journal prompts that Murnell just provided. And, just as a final reminder, you don't have to earn rest.
Mm.
It is your birthright. You don't have to perform worthiness. Worthiness is not something that you perform. You are not weak for slowing down. That makes you wise.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost of toughing it out is too high. The cost of pushing through is too high. Choose softness. Choose healing.
And so, with that, we close and we thank you guys so much for taking a moment to slow down with us and to listen to this episode. And so, we ask that you subscribe, leave a review, share with somebody who's silently suffering. Somebody, share it with your strong friend. That friend, that's the strong one. Share this episode with her or him. And I would invite you guys to also leave us your stories. we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we have our website all under Emergent Counseling. And our next episode for next time will be
how we use alcohol, parties, and perfection to escape what hurts. Don't miss it. We'll be diving into how we use alcohol, parties, and perfection to escape what hurts.
And until next time,
be kind to yourself
because you deserve it.